What Saturn in Aries means for your zodiac sign. Dear Aries, life is now telling you, it's time to grow up. And no, this growth won't be soft or easy. Because Saturn is the teacher of the zodiac, and not the kind, patient one. Saturn teaches not with gentle words, but through experiences. Think of it like someone who sees your potential better than you do and pushes you, even if it's uncomfortable. It's time to build a new version of yourself. Saturn will ask you, who do you truly want to become? It will confront you with the gap between who you imagine yourself to be and how you actually show up in the world. It will place your self-imposed limits, fears, and masks, if any, right in front of you. During this time, you may feel inadequate, hesitant, slow, or under pressure. That's natural, because Saturn wants you to face your raw, unfiltered self. The goal? To shape a stronger, more grounded individual. In short, it's time for a new journey with yourself. Aries energy is all about courage, bold first steps, and embracing the new. But with Saturn in Aries, courage must come with discipline, maturity, and responsibility. No more impulsive leaps. Life will now push you to stop procrastinating and always be ready. And yes, this journey may also be a literal one. A relocation, a new job, or a whole new lifestyle. But whatever step you take must come from deep inner resolve. You'll be called to build a structure, because that's what Saturn loves most, construction. But before building anything, the foundation must be dug deep. This transit will ask you to reorganize the loose, inconsistent, or chaotic parts of your identity. As a result, you may feel rising internal pressure to clarify what you're doing and how you're doing it. You might even make serious decisions about your physical appearance. Losing weight, changing your image, or building a stronger body. So yes, this is a time of reconstruction, both inside and out. And yes, Saturn will challenge you, but not to break you, to awaken your real courage and your true self. The obstacles you face during this time are really saying, if you can be patient, you'll move forward, for real and for good. In short, this Saturn transit will whisper, you carry enormous potential, but first, you must be honest with yourself. Drop the masks, face the fears, own your strength. Only then will your real journey begin. Saturn will challenge you. But in the end, you'll emerge more real, more clear, more powerful than ever before. And as a result, your relationships and who you choose to connect with will transform too. Depending on your birth chart, this could even mean marriage or divorce. Dear Taurus, in the coming period, your public roles and responsibilities will begin to fade into the background. Instead of being in the spotlight, you'll find yourself behind the scenes. This may upset or disappoint some people around you, and you might need to remind them, perhaps more than once, that you are not always the one who has to take responsibility. Your desire to withdraw may grow. You may feel the urge to step away from crowds and spend more time alone. This could be an inner retreat, or even a kind of forced pause, but don't mistake this retreat for escapism. It's a process of purification and rebuilding. Saturn here is like a spiritual midwife, urging you to reorganize yourself before a metaphorical rebirth. Most of what happens during this transit won't unfold in the external world. Instead, things will shift behind closed doors, within your subconscious, or in private cycles that few others can see. Saturn will confront you with forces beyond your control, repressed patterns of behavior, and hidden themes that you've kept in the shadows. Things you've kept secret may come to light. These secrets could be negative, such as missteps or guilt, but they could also be positive. Good deeds done quietly, unnoticed efforts. Saturn will ask, what hidden part of your life now needs to become visible? Because Aries, ruled by the exalted sun, is a sign associated with visibility. This could be a habit, a relationship, or any situation you've maintained quietly. And because Aries is an impulsive sign, hidden impulses may rise to the surface more quickly. Saturn wants you to own them and face the consequences. If any part of your life has been ethically out of line, this is your moment of truth. This is also a part of the sky where you may sometimes feel like you're losing control. You might witness things happening around you that you cannot influence. This is life testing your capacity for surrender. Not passivity, but a deeper, more responsible form of acceptance. Remember that even technology can behave unpredictably during this time. Be cautious when working with large machinery or anything that could cause accidents, especially tools or chemicals that can trigger fires. Don't leave computers or electronic devices unattended in risky places. Saturn may also draw your attention to your heart and circulatory health. Be mindful of symptoms like high blood pressure, blood-related issues, or persistent headaches. Don't ignore them. Take precautions, go for checkups, and don't avoid medical advice. If you struggle with sleep issues, Saturn will push you to resolve them too. Whether it's sleep or any area of life that can spiral out of control, Saturn will signal the need to take action before the situation worsens. Honor these warnings, they're precious. In summary, this period will lead to a rebirth, but the quality of that rebirth depends on how you navigate this process. Think of it as a period of deep inner rehabilitation. By the end of this transit, your daily life and possibly even your career may look completely different. Dear Gemini, a significant phase of restructuring is beginning in your social life, future goals, and the groups you feel you belong to. What is true friendship? Which community do you really want to be part of? What actions support your goals, and which ones don't? These are the questions you'll be asking yourself over and over again during this period. This astrological transit will push you to reevaluate both your social circle and your plans for the future, with seriousness and maturity. How you express your individuality within a group or on social media, and the nature of your connection to society will also become important. You'll be tested through your social ties. Some friends may slowly fade from your life. Shallow, draining, or self-serving connections will break apart. You may decide to walk away from certain communities you no longer feel aligned with. Saturn in this house helps you distinguish fake friendships from true ones, and this distinction will guide you toward more sincere, meaningful relationships built on solid ground. You'll also be forced to approach your social media presence and digital network more responsibly and thoughtfully. And beyond that, your current goals will be questioned. Do they truly reflect who you are? This transit will push you to make your future vision more independent and self-directed. No more chasing what others expect. Instead, you'll forge your own path. But to do that, you'll need patience, planning, and a strong sense of responsibility. If you've only been dreaming until now, Saturn will ask you to build a system around that dream. Saturn might also place you in a position where you must responsibly adapt to a group's rules or structure. Balancing your individuality with group dynamics won't always be easy. Saturn here wants you to express your boundaries and independence with maturity, not rebellion. In some cases, this transit may bring themes such as moving out, becoming independent, or your role within the family shifting. Your relationship with family, your social responsibilities, and your public identity may all need to be redefined. Perhaps it's time to build your social identity separately from your family identity, and Saturn will help structure that path. In summary, let go of superficial relationships and choose genuine friendships. Ground your future goals on solid foundations. Act with more awareness and responsibility in your social networks. Move forward patiently and deliberately toward goals that don't depend on others. This is not a period of loneliness, but a conscious recalibration. It's not a time of loss, but a shedding of unnecessary burdens. By the end of this process, you'll be building the foundation of joy and confidence for your future life. And whether this brings you long-term happiness depends on how wisely you walk through this process. Dear Cancer, this could be one of the most critical periods in your life. Because Saturn will be transiting your 10th house, the house of career, public image, achievement, and societal roles. And being an angular house, this placement can influence your entire birth chart with powerful, unmistakable impact. The question is, will you start showing up as your true self in the public sphere? Or will you continue to hide behind masks for the sake of fitting in? Life will bring events that test this choice. Some individuals in society may want you to play a role rather than live your truth. You may find yourself facing pressure from people trying to mold you into something you're not. But if you conform, you'll fail Saturn's test of integrity and authenticity. This period is your chance to rise or restructure your life, not according to what others expect, but in alignment with who you truly are. Saturn will challenge your patience, discipline, and ethical stance. You'll be called to redefine your public role and possibly rebuild your career, but not from a place of conformity, from a place of integrity. Now is the time to become your own boss, not just professionally, but in how you steer your life. You may enter a new field, launch your own business, take on new responsibilities, or feel the call to make a bold and courageous stand in public life. However, you'll need to strike a balance between Aries' impulsive nature and Saturn's demand for patience. If you rush decisions, Saturn will ensure those choices come back around as hard lessons. Remember, success is not just about being visible. It's about having the character to carry that visibility and to do so with courage and honesty. Shortcuts and unethical behaviors may backfire during this transit. Let's say you've already been living authentically in public, with no fear of judgment. Even then, Saturn might call you to pivot, to carve a new, more refined path forward. Your social status is likely to shift as well, and that doesn't only mean career changes. Getting married, divorced, becoming a parent, grandparent, aunt, or uncle, these are also status transitions. Saturn may bring any of these into focus. Your path is now paved with building blocks that you must lay with courage, but each stone you place will become a firm step beneath your feet in the future. What you build during this astrological phase will carry you for years to come. It's not just your public image that's transforming. It's also your relationship to your home and family, both of which are entering a phase of restructuring. Dear Leo, this transit invites you on a deep, introspective, and transformative journey. Saturn will be moving through the area of your chart where you seek life's meaning, push your mental boundaries, absorb the vast knowledge of society, and reshape your worldview. And Saturn's mission here is to turn you into a sage, if, of course, you're ready, and if you're willing to spend this period truly learning. During this time, themes related to higher education, philosophy, spirituality, astrology, or other deep intellectual subjects may surface, with responsibility and discipline attached. If you've left an education incomplete, Saturn might pressure you to finish it now. You'll be expected not to consume knowledge in a superficial way, but to internalize it with discipline and patience. The ideas you've believed in, the opinions you've defended, or the worldview you've held up until now, they may no longer satisfy you. You'll be pushed into a crisis of belief, sometimes suddenly, sometimes over a long and slow realization. Every time you try to ignore this questioning process, Saturn will confront you with new events that challenge you. What do you truly believe in? And is that belief truly your own? You'll be forced to break away from outdated mental patterns and construct a more realistic, tested philosophy of life. This transit may also bring long-distance travel, experiences abroad, or cultural exploration. But every journey you take will have a purpose, not as a vacation, but as a mentally and spiritually constructive process. By the end of this journey, your mind will evolve. You'll become someone far more useful, wiser, and more grounded in thought. This period may also bring a change in your immediate surroundings. Neighbors may change, or perhaps a new sibling may enter your life. Dear Virgo, the period ahead will be deeply transformative for you, and at times challenging. But it's all happening for one reason, so that you don't decay inside your comfort zone, and can instead gain the courage to start anew. Saturn will be transiting the area that governs shared resources, such as debts, taxes, inheritances, alimony, loans, and anything financially or energetically entangled with others. Here, Saturn demands structure, discipline, and above all, honesty. You may be forced to confront outstanding debts, take responsibility in shared financial areas, or deal with sensitive issues like inheritances or legal entanglements. This is also a time when your sense of security may be tested. What do you really rely on? What gives you a false sense of safety? Letting go of insecure or unethical foundations can lead to significant growth. If you've made unethical or reckless financial decisions in the past, now is the time for accountability, but also for rebuilding on solid ground. Saturn may also prompt you to make major investments or purchases, and you'll need to be sure you're investing in what truly holds value, not just chasing desires or gut feelings. During this period, buried fears, old traumas, or even secrets you've avoided addressing may surface. But rather than collapse, these crises offer the chance to grow stronger, to mature emotionally and spiritually. Because Aries is involved, this isn't a passive transformation. You're called to confront your fears actively and boldly. Avoiding them or staying passive will only prolong your struggles. If needed, seek therapy, shadow work, or any form of deep self-exploration to face your inner world. You must learn to let go of what controls you, even if that means relinquishing control in certain areas. Saturn may also influence your sexual life during this period. You'll be nudged away from fleeting passions and toward deeper, more trustworthy connections. So, what part of you has expired? Is it a toxic habit, a dependency, an emotional pattern that no longer serves you or others? Letting go of these aspects with courage will transform you into a freer, more empowered version of yourself. In short, face your shadow and rule over it. If you've had unresolved health issues that were hidden or dormant, this may also be the time to address them once and for all. And if you emerge from this Saturn transit stronger, then in the future, you may not only use your talents fearlessly, but even attain the kind of wealth that sustains you for a lifetime. Yes, you read that right. Dear Libra, the area of your life that involves one-on-one relationships, including marriage, partnerships, and even open enemies, will now undergo a serious test. This period arrives to show you how strong and authentic your mutual bonds truly are. Saturn takes on a confrontational, instructive, and often deliberately slowing role here. Some of your relationships may enter a sort of waiting room, so to speak. If you're in a relationship, Saturn will test the strength of that connection. You may need to act with greater patience, maturity, and responsibility toward your partner. Surface-level issues or buried conflicts can no longer be ignored. Saturn will bring you to a point where you must either restructure the relationship or say goodbye. And if your bond is unethical or secretive, it may now come to light in scandalous ways. Saturn often makes the decisions you've delayed and makes them for you. On the other hand, this transit could also bring the desire to build a new relationship, but only on solid, serious foundations. Nothing will start quickly or effortlessly. There will be delays, often due to you or the other person. But that waiting period has value. It slows down the impulsiveness of Aries, allowing time to build something lasting. If you have a business partner, this transit will test the division of responsibilities, trust, and loyalty. Power dynamics, inequality, or loyalty questions may come to the surface. This could end an outdated partnership or rebuild it into something stronger. While Saturn passes through this area, others become mirrors. They'll reflect your own shadows: impatience, need for control, avoidance of responsibility. If you can analyze your reactions and use those insights to rebuild your approach, you will achieve meaningful growth. Sometimes this transit also highlights open rivalries. You may confront someone you're in competition with, deal with legal proceedings, or face disputes around justice and fairness. Saturn here will insist you stay ethical, fair, and patient in seeking resolution, even when you feel treated unfairly. In summary, a new path in relationships is opening, but only after the old one is fully examined. You'll need to make bold decisions, but not impulsive ones. Strategic, well-considered actions are required. How you treat others will reflect back on you, so focus not just on being nice, but on doing what's right. You'll have to learn to be fair to others and also to yourself. This period will gift you with slow but lasting emotional maturity in relationships. And if you go through it consciously, you'll be truly proud of who you've become. Because in truth, through others, you are rebuilding yourself. Dear Scorpio, your life is entering a period where your daily routines, work responsibilities, health, and service-related matters must undergo a serious transformation. This phase brings challenging but instructive experiences to help you build a healthier, more productive, and more disciplined life. Everything, from what time you wake up in the morning to how you manage your workday, must be restructured. Situations may arise that force you to stop wasting time and develop a stronger work ethic. Ironically, these challenges will make your free time more meaningful and functional in the long run. You'll begin to question which tasks are truly important. You may realize you've taken on too much in the past and will now face tests that ask, will you fall into the same patterns again? Avoid taking on burdens that drain your energy and time for no real return. If your life has become disorganized, or if you've been living by a I'll take any job approach. You'll see how unsustainable that chaos truly is. Saturn will push you to become selective, structured, and intentional with how you spend your time and energy. If you've been postponing health issues, this is your wake-up call. Don't delay treatment any longer. Otherwise, hidden problems may emerge within a few years, requiring more serious intervention. You'll need to reevaluate your diet, sleep, and physical activity habits. If your stress management is weak, your body may force you to stop and recalibrate. These struggles will ultimately lead to lasting, healthier habits. Saturn also highlights the tools you use in your daily life, especially technology. Take extra care with electronic devices. Maintain them properly and avoid risky behavior that could harm you or cause malfunction. At work, greater responsibilities may arise. This might include a new role or a high-responsibility, low-visibility position. This is not the time for shortcuts. Saturn, even an action-oriented Aries, demands discipline and patience. You may also face challenges in your workplace relationships, especially with authority figures. Proving your worth or standing your ground respectfully may become necessary. Frequent work-related travel is also likely. If you're involved in unethical or shallow projects, these may fall apart now. If you've relied on unstable or short-term ways to earn money, Saturn will show you the limits of those methods. Instead, you're being called to build a lasting, ethical, and innovative system. You'll need to approach creating new income sources with patience and creativity. A new skill or business model developed now, slowly but bravely, could bring great returns in the long run. Lean into your entrepreneurial spirit, but be responsible, strategic, and ethical. Keywords for this phase: transform, but with a plan. Be bold, but not impulsive. Take initiative, but with initiative. In summary, if you want to start a new business, restructure your health, or change your lifestyle, this is an ideal time. But you must be ready to face the challenges head-on. If you succeed, you'll build a new comfort zone where your efforts will allow you to relax and thrive in the future. And if your natal chart supports it, this period may even leave a lasting impact on your community or field. Dear Sagittarius, you are entering a serious restructuring phase in the joyful and creative areas of your life. You may feel the need to finally devote yourself seriously to creative projects you have been postponing for a long time. However, there is one important caution. Don't get too caught up in planning. The mind tends to enjoy the act of planning itself, and focusing too much on plans might make you miss the bigger picture and stray from your goals. So just start the journey, think broadly and ambitiously, and develop your plans as you go along. If you work in art, design, or any creative field, you will need to become more professional and organized in these areas. Aim to build solid foundations for the long term rather than seeking quick fame. This way, your reputation will grow larger and more unblemished over time. If you have children or are planning to have children, this period may bring serious responsibilities related to them. For those wanting to become parents, this transition could mean either a planned preparation phase or encountering some restrictions, possibly with the help of science and technology. If you already have children, you may need to adopt a firm, responsible, and instructive approach to their development. Actions like lecturing, speeches, or advice might not be effective. Children may also act as mirrors, reflecting back your impatience, lack of discipline, or carelessness through events that challenge you. Saturn's transit through your 5th house also restructures your love life. Temporary passions and superficial relationships will either end or deepen into more solid forms. It's time to take responsibility in love and evaluate both yourself and your partner seriously. If you are in a relationship, it may enter a testing phase. If you are single, new relationships might not start immediately. There will be a period of waiting and testing. Perhaps you are postponing the small, spontaneous joys of life or aiming for bigger, more spectacular goals. During this time, your idea of entertainment and happiness may change. You may learn to pursue lasting and more sincere joys. One certainty in this period is that you will acquire a new hobby and have ample opportunities for travel and vacations. When it comes to investments, be cautious about impulsive or unplanned decisions, as these could have serious consequences, especially if you are involved with the stock market. Yes, your forecasting skills will be tested. If you are a stock trader or astrologer, you will learn not to make rushed predictions and to systematize your forecasts. If you navigate this process successfully, In years to come, you will be recognized with goals that bring you great happiness and a new social circle. Dear Capricorn, you are going through a serious, transformative, and restructuring process in many foundational areas of your life. This period calls you to deep self-reflection, to confront family matters, and to make peace with your past. If your foundation isn't solid, Saturn will first show you the cracks, but then it will give you the opportunity to build a new and stronger base. During this transition, your bonds with your family will come into focus. Long postponed conversations, suppressed emotions, or ignored issues within your family and home life are likely to surface for resolution. You will be expected to show more emotional maturity, patience, ethical stance, and responsibility. You may experience either creating distance or taking on more responsibility in your relationships with parents. For some, this might mean caring for family members. For others, it might mean emotionally separating from the family. Yes, as Saturn passes through this area, your home life will undergo a serious transformation. Concrete developments like moving, buying a house, or remodeling may come into play. You will question whether your home is truly a sanctuary, and this inquiry will create opportunities for restructuring. You'll start to better understand what you need to feel safe. And of course, with the Aries energy, you may seek more independence and aim to release some burdens. These changes might not be easy, but they will lead you to a more personal, happy, and solid inner space, the fruits of which you will enjoy years later. You may also face some emotional burdens from your past during this time. Inherited patterns from your ancestors, suppressed anger, or unhelpful habits may want to surface. Saturn in Aries doesn't call you to get stuck in the past, but to free yourself by understanding it. Because your past, even the bad parts, made you who you are today, and you owe your current self to those experiences. So, you should honor your past without staining it with blame. If the weight of your past pulls you down, Saturn will highlight that burden through events. Please listen carefully. These occurrences are signals. This period will also make you ask yourself, what am I building my life upon? If your inner security has been damaged, you must first recognize that crack to heal it. Saturn will guide you to organize your inner world to reduce the chaos in your external world. The area Saturn is transiting symbolizes both beginnings and endings. Before opening a new chapter, you may need to close some doors. This time is an opportunity to end an era and build a new lifestyle on stronger foundations. You will gain true inner resilience, emotional rootedness, more honest relationships with your family, the ability to build your own home, internally or physically. Remember, Saturn is not here to limit you, but to mature you. When you are ready, it will lay out every building block necessary for you to become the architect of your own foundation. All you need to do is take responsibility and move forward with courage and sincerity. Years from now, you will realize how much your future happiness and comfort owe to this period. Wishing you the best in making the most of Saturn's transit through Aries. Dear Aquarius, as Saturn passes through your third house in Aries, an important and structuring period begins in your life related to communication, perception, and your close environment. This process invites you to become mentally more mature, responsible, and strategic. Of course, Saturn teaches this primarily through some challenges. During this time, your way of thinking and perspective on events will be tested. You may experience mental fatigue, information overload, or indecisiveness at times. However, this will teach you to think more clearly, concisely, and based on truth. It may prompt you to ask yourself not, what am I saying, but rather, what do I want to convey? This transit will help you simplify your communication, cleanse unnecessary information, and fully structure your thoughts. Your conversations, writings, and social media posts will come under more serious scrutiny. You will be expected to take responsibility for what you say. You might engage in more serious communication responsibilities, such as writing a book, article, or blog. Or events might require you to correct your communication style. This transit creates a strong time frame to bring your communication skills onto a professional footing. The area Saturn is transiting also represents siblings, cousins, neighbors, and relationships with your daily and close environment. During this period, distances might arise in these relationships, or you may need to resolve issues. Some relationships will be tested while others will be strengthened. If your close environment no longer supports your growth, you may need to reorganize those ties. Saturn in Aries, combined with its dynamic nature and being in its exile, will also introduce you to short-distance travels. Since your close environment is also changing, you might have to move. You may need to travel frequently for work or family reasons. However, this mobility will not be random, but full of responsibilities. Every step you take will have purpose and structure. Aries gives you courage in this process, but Saturn will teach you to balance that courage with patience and strategy. You might face subjects you feared learning about, start new education, or find yourself in a position to share your knowledge with others. In summary, as Saturn passes through your third house, it will reshape your mind, communication style, and close environment by filtering and reorganizing them. It's not easy because any wrong step can have consequences. But if you successfully pass through this process, it will place you in a much clearer, respected, and influential position. Years from now, when you look back, you will realize you owe your wisdom and respect to this period. Wishing you to make the most of Saturn's transit through Aries. Dear Pisces, Saturn's clearest message to you is this: redefine and restructure your sense of value. This transit is not only about material matters for you, but also directly concerns how you perceive your self-worth. When Saturn steps into this area, it tests your unseen but life-guiding foundations of value. With this transit, you will be asked to follow a new path that adds more true value to your worth. You may also build a new structure that provides you with an additional resource during this process. Saturn will prompt you with these questions. Is your way of earning money sustainable, or are you just getting by day to day? Do your expenses free you, or do they create dependency? Do you allow what you own to define you? During this period, you are expected to be able to control your income sources. You may need to be more disciplined in your spending. Patience and planning will be required for your financial security. If you are spending irresponsibly or making risky investments, Saturn will punish you to make you realize this. But if you take long-term, solid, and correct steps, it will reward you slowly but surely. Are you truly using your talents? Are you productive with the skills you possess? Are these talents being utilized both for yourself and your environment? You might need to show your skills in an area where you previously lacked courage. Your shortcomings will become clearer, which might force you to acquire new skills. At the same time, you will learn to discipline your talents. While doing all this, new technologies will open paths for you. Just make sure not to continue with the old system. A person's value is also formed by their talents. Hence, this process will further increase your worth. If you get through it properly, what you own will no longer be temporary, but foundational. If you depend on external approvals and social contacts for your self-worth, Saturn is coming to break this down. Because a person's value is not measured by others' approval. A person's worth reveals itself over time. This might cause internal crises for you sometimes. You might feel insufficient or unsuccessful during this process. But remember, this is the first step. Those who believe they are already complete individuals cannot move forward. You will need courage to defend what you have. You will learn not to let others take what is rightfully yours. Your worth, your rights, and your talents must now become more valuable. You are valuable. And like most people, your true potential's worth is far greater than what you currently recognize. Saturn will first test you to help you realize this truth, and then if you manage the process well, it will elevate you. Behind every hardship, there is a building block. Now is the time to lay that foundation. Dear Pisces, I wish you to optimally benefit from Saturn's transit through Aries.